Midjourney and Flux are no longer the best AI image generators. Bob Iger is praising the creative power of artificial intelligence, and OpenAI just gave artists a huge update. This is your AI film news of the week. I want to give a special thank you to LMU for inviting us to the Innovators Film Festival this last week. It was an incredible event. All right, let's get to the news. The first big piece of news that I think you should know about comes from OpenAI. The team at OpenAI has released 4.0 image generation, and it looks like it's the most intelligent image generator in history. Long story short, this new tool has the ability to adhere to your prompts with a ton of accuracy. Let's take a look at a few examples here. So first off, we have this image of this person working at a whiteboard. They're wearing a shirt that says OpenAI. Really, there's not a lot about this that would make me think it's a fake photograph. But the wild thing is, if you actually look at their prompt, they have prompted for all of the words that are on the whiteboard. So it has a crazy amount of text adherency, and it's doing an amazing job. Now, the thing that makes this incredibly unique, if we just had the ability to generate the text in the image, that would be amazing. But it goes one step further because this brand new image model has the ability for you to edit it through text prompts. So for example, they said a selfie view of the photographer as she turns around to high five him. And you can see here, we have the two people giving a high five, and you can tell they work in the tech industry because they're really bad at giving high fives. Like, what is that? If you've ever been to a tech conference and tried to give somebody a high five, good gravy, it's a journey. The thing I like a lot about this image is the fact that if you look at the reflection in the background, it actually is reflecting in an accurate way as well. So fantastic job on this image. Now, one of the things that they're really excited about is consistent characters. So for example, in the demo from OpenAI, they have this polygon penguin, and they wanted to prompt in and change him to a more realistic penguin, and they were able to do that very quickly. You also have the ability to upload and restyle images in a way that's somewhat similar to Magnific and some of the restyling features that we've seen in other tools up to this point. So for example, we have a very rough comic here of this dinosaur, and basically they wanted to create a full color option, and they were able to do that very easily. There's a few other examples I really want to show you. This first one here is this image of these witches basically looking for a parking sign. And if you've ever lived in Los Angeles, this hits really close to home. The signs are absolutely bonkers. And the cool thing is they're able to prompt for all of the text that is on each sign. So an incredible adherence to the prompt there. You also have the ability to have conversations and not only edit the original images, but also go back and forth to change them across styles. So for example, we have an image of a cat that was uploaded. This wasn't generated in ChatGPT, it was uploaded by the user. And now we want to give the cat a detective hat and a monocle. And in just a few seconds, it's able to do that. And now you can do some creative exploring. What does it look like if the cat was in a video game? And what is the world that the cat lives in? And then finally, let's create a menu for the cat to level up his skills, and there you go. So we have a few examples of realism here, some friends in a dive bar, this little girl drinking a smoothie, an out of focus photo of a car at night. We have these animals playing poker, which is just adorable. I guess they're all on the same team. Oh, maybe they're hustling you for all these poker chips. It's pretty cool. We also have graphic design. You see, it does an amazing job at layout and adherence to text-based prompts. And then finally, we have this just majestic shot of this horse. I'm assuming that horse is in shallow water, or maybe this is like the Jesus version of horses, and so he's just like running on the water. So nice job, horse. To use this new feature, all you have to do is go to ChatGPT 4.0. We'll type in a prompt, create a cinematic image of a purple dog holding a trophy. And in just a few seconds, it generates this image here. Now, I don't know how he's holding that trophy, but let's say that we want to swap it out for something else. Let's say change the trophy for a smoothie. And you can see as the image is generated, it has this incredibly slow image wipe effect that's happening, which I think just makes it a little more fun. I like the animation they added there. And there you go. Now we have this image of a dog drinking the smoothie. I will say it's one of the most realistic AI images that I've seen in a while, except for the physics, the lighting, the shading, it all looks good. I have no idea how that dog is actually holding onto that smoothie right now, but it did a pretty good job. Now, there are a few things to note about this image generator. The first is it's pretty slow. It'll take you anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds to generate an image. And when you're working on an AI film specifically, it's really more about iteration and getting a ton of different variants. And so that speed and iteration loop is not quite as fast as if you used other tools. So that's just one thing to note. Long story short, if you're looking for maximum quality, what I would probably recommend doing is using a different image generator when you're just coming up with ideas and trying to see thousands of photos to help you get to creative inspiration. And then when you're ready to start refining your images, this brand new feature inside of ChatGPT is more than likely going to be a fantastic option. Now, I should note that it is built into OpenAI. So I should note that if you're working on a project that's a little more PG-13 or R-rated, you probably will not be able to use this tool. The team at OpenAI is now allowing anybody on the $20 a month plan or more to get unlimited video generations at 720p. As you know, SORA has been released for a few months now, but one of the challenges of using the tool is the credit system. It can become very costly to use SORA. I should also note we have a completely free prompting guide to SORA if you're new to the tool. You'll find the link below this video. It's also been cool to see the team at SORA going on tour to showcase some of the films that have been created with their tool. They've hosted events in New York City, Los Angeles, and they will be in Tokyo very soon. A big shout out to our friend Suki Mansour for coordinating some of those events. I actually saw some really interesting information this last week where OpenAI came out and said that the top 4 cities using SORA are Seoul, Paris, Tokyo, and Madrid, which is pretty interesting because I would have expected Los Angeles, New York, and London to be big contenders, but it is kind of cool to see international hubs of creativity popping up as users for these tools. In image generation news, there was a very big announcement from the team at Reve. Now, there's been this secret image generator that's been going around called Half Moon, and everybody was like, is this from Google? Is this from OpenAI? No one had any idea where this image generator was coming from. And on Monday, the team at Reve raised their hand and said, no, that was actually us. So it's pretty cool because the company is founded by our friend Christian Cantrell, and they basically have designed their own in-house AI image tool that creates incredible images. There are a few things that make this image generator really nice, but instead of me just explaining it to you, let me show you inside of the tool. To use the tool, all you have to do is go to the preview link, which you'll find below this video. I should note that it is open and there aren't credits at the moment, so you have the ability to play around with this tool, which is really fun. So let's do a fairly complex prompt here. I'll say a woman with long brown hair and vibrant, bright blue eyeshadow wearing a white fur coat takes a selfie with a black dog. So that's a lot of prompting there. Let's go ahead and check out our results. So we have image number 1 here, and yeah, it actually did a really good job. It looks like a very realistic image, and she does have the appropriate number of fingers. So a big thumbs up to Reve for pulling that off. We have this second image here, which I'm not too sure how they're pulling off the infinite zoom there, but I don't think that's the best result. And we have this shot here, which does look like a real photo. And then finally, we have this shot here. She's not exactly taking a selfie of herself, but it does look like she's taking a photo of the dog. And again, the image does look very realistic. Next up is text adherence. This tool is incredible at generating text inside of your images. So let's create the prompt, a modern website that says a home for AI filmmakers with a yellow color palette and cute 3D characters holding a camera. So we have option number 1 here, and you can see it says a home for AI filmmakers, and the actual font looks realistic. So that's the other cool thing about this. It doesn't have like 5 different fonts in the same line. It did a really good job at adhering to what we were looking for. We have this one here. Again, looks really cute, would be a great jumping off point for some graphic design projects. We have this one here. I don't know if I'm loving it, but again, it still did a good job at generating the text. And then finally, we have this one here, a home for AI filmmakers. It's pretty cool that it even understands the bolding of AI filmmakers being kind of the target keyword for this project. And then finally, you do have the ability to upload an image as kind of a style reference for your generations. So let's go ahead and start with an image here. I have this picture of Shelby and I. You can see black and white, kind of filmic aesthetic. We'll go ahead and import that. And you can see it generated a few photos in a very similar style. So shot number 1, shot number 2, shot number 3, and shot number 4. So again, it's pretty good at understanding the overall style and composition of an image and recreating it. So let's go ahead and stress test this tool a little bit. So again, we have a woman with long brown hair taking a selfie with the blue eyeshadow, and it created this image, which looks really good. We said we want a photo of a girl taking a selfie in a graffiti-filled bathroom with the word love written on the mirror. And yeah, it did a really, really nice job. We have this image here of a mechanic with dirty hands wiping his hands in a garage. He looks at the camera, professional 3-point lighting. Yeah, this looks like a headshot from like a mechanic's website. We have a white and orange cat walking through New York City wearing a tiny top hat and a gold chain. That cat definitely knows how to live. We also prompted in for a man with one blue eye and one brown eye, which is really tricky for AI systems to do, wearing a red jumpsuit, staring at the camera, pointing with a menacing expression. And yeah, that's definitely what we prompted for. And we have a woman with a concerned expression looking over her shoulder while talking on an iPhone on a subway train. And yeah, she seems pretty worried, and that looks pretty realistic. And what's also pretty cool about this tool is the fact that you have the ability to do natural language editing. So we have this original photo of this can on ice. The can says Beauty Pop, and we want to change the background. Well, normally, if you were using a tool like Midjourney, you'd have to paint over the part that you want to change, reprompt, and it's basically a hands-on experience. Using this tool, you can basically use language to change the background. So it's asking us what would we like to change, and we can just say the background is green and the lighting is brighter, and we can go ahead and run that prompt. And after a few seconds, it generates this image here, which it did a pretty good job. I should note that the logo between the two images is different, and there are just structural differences between the can of ice and the background. But honestly, I think these conversational edits and having the ability to communicate with your AI system in a natural language is going to increasingly be a part of the creative process. Obviously, you'll always want to have fine-tuned controls over the specific elements that you're wanting to change, but when you're in the creative iteration process, sometimes you just quickly want a change and you're not looking for maximum control, and that's where I really feel like this tool is thriving at the moment. So I had to do the exact same thing inside of Midjourney. So I generated the exact same prompts just as a comparison. So here's the image of the selfie. Yeah, looks pretty good, but the faces do look plasticky, so not the most realistic result. We have the image of the woman taking a selfie in the mirror, but love is not painted on the mirror, so it didn't really adhere to the prompt. We have this one here of this guy as a mechanic, and yeah, I think it actually did a pretty good job there. We have the image of the cat walking down the street, not too bad. We have the image of the guy with one brown eye and one blue eye looking at the camera, but you can see here it just gave him 2 blue eyes, so not as good at adhering to prompts. And we have the worried woman on the iPhone on the subway. I don't see the iPhone, and I think she might be wearing a car key in her ear that's like some sort of like headphone mixed with key. Not too sure what's going on there. And we have the can that's supposed to say Beauty Pop, but I think it says Beauty Pop, which is possibly more fun. I have no idea how you're actually supposed to open that can. That is definitely not a regulation can popper there. Now, obviously, it doesn't have all of the open source functionality and tools that you might want from a tool like Flux, and it doesn't have all of the creative tools that you would get out of a tool like Midjourney. So it is very much a fantastic AI image generator, and as we get more tools directly inside of Half Moon, I think it's going to become even more powerful. Sticking with AI image generation news, the team at Hailu has come out with their own image generator. The cool thing about this tool is it allows you to generate the image in their platform, and then you can animate it with Minimax directly on the website. Let me show you how to use it. To get started, just go to the Hailu AI website. You'll find a link below this video and go to Create Image. So for our prompt, we'll say a cinematic shot of a knight wielding a sword as he battles a dragon. And here was our result. I think it's okay. It kind of comes across a bit more like fantasy art as opposed to something realistic, but it did a pretty good job at adhering to the prompt. I do love this idea of this like dual lightsaber / classic sword. I think that's just pretty rad. I prompted in for a close-up of a man looking down, an expression of sadness on his face. And yeah, he's definitely looking down and just pretty sad. I think he paid for an annual subscription of Kling, and then he just heard the SORA news, so he's just a little sad. We prompted for an image of a woman in a green dress smoking a cigarette as she looks at the mirror. And it did an okay job, but I think that the angles are off because she's kind of like facing the mirror head on, but the person in the mirror is facing an opposite direction. So unless you're going for that very classic airplane joke, I don't think this one did an amazing job. And then finally, we have a wide shot of a 1970s office building. And yeah, the shot looks pretty good. Now let's take that example and say we want to actually animate it using Minimax. Well, it's super easy. So we're inside of Hailu here. All you have to do is go to the little video icon there and go to image to video. And you can type in a prompt. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. For us, we'll say camera moves to the left to reveal a man walking with a briefcase towards the building. And we'll go ahead and generate the video. And it created this video here. And yeah, you can see we have a guy with a briefcase walking. I think the physics are a little off, but it's pretty close. I think after a few generations, you would get something that is really good. Now, they also have subject reference. If you like an image that was generated, you want to have that consistent subject again and again. Well, all you have to do is go down to the video icon, click subject reference, and now you can basically prompt in for anything you want, and it will create a video with that subject. So for our prompt, we'll say a woman walks through a hallway of a creepy warehouse with overhead fluorescent lighting. And the idea is we want this same woman again and again. And after a few minutes, we have this video here, which is an impressive video. I think there's a lot of intensity to the way she's walking, and the physics look fairly realistic, but I really don't think that her face matches the subject from the image. So I don't think that the subject reference tool is really that great at this time. So again, as a baseline, I had to compare this image generator to Midjourney, and here were the results. So we have the woman smoking the cigarette in the mirror, which looks pretty good. You will notice she's smoking a cigarette and also holding another cigarette. So this is definitely the 1950s. We have the sad man looking down, and it looks pretty good. There are just so many pores on his face, so definitely should update his skincare routine there. And we have the 1970s office building, did a pretty good job. Some of these cars look a little wacky, but not too bad. And then finally, we have this image of the knight and the dragon. This looks awesome. I want to see this film right away. And because I was so excited, I wanted to animate these images inside of an AI video generator. We went with Luma. We've been getting some really good results from their platform recently. So we have the woman smoking the cigarette, and the first cigarette disappeared, but after that, it actually looks pretty good. And you can see there's the reflection in the mirror. And actually not too bad. Like, it did a pretty good job with mirroring the animation between the mirror and the subject. So that's actually pretty complex. Hat tip to Luma. We also have the guy who's sad, looking down, and he's just really sad. Again, we might want to check on that skincare routine because that is some really stretchy skin. I don't know if that's normal. Next up, we have the office building from the 1970s. And yeah, that looks like an establishing shot to some like 1970s sitcom. And then finally, we have the knight fighting the dragon here. And this is so impressive. Like, it really looks like a high budget CGI shot. Obviously, you'd probably want to go in, throw this video through something like Project Starlight. I think the quality of AI video generators has just dramatically increased over the last few months. Shots like this really show me that the future of VFX is absolutely going to have AI integrated inside of the pipeline. In Whitepaper news, there was a new announcement from a Chinese image model that allows you to upload a single image of a person and generate that person in an infinite number of images. Now, that already exists in tools like Midjourney up to this point. The thing that makes this one interesting is how good it is at creating the same character again and again, and the fact that it's open source and integrates with Flux. There's some pretty cool examples over on the website. So for example, we have this image of this woman here, and with just a few prompts, it generated her in a few different environments. We have these images here of this woman with blonde hair or this guy as an old man, and you can see it actually turned him into an old man. I think he needs a few more wrinkles there, but it did a pretty good job. We can also integrate other assets into the frame. So for example, we have this image of this man here, but we want to put glasses and long hair. Well, it's able to pull that off pretty easily. Now, there's a free Hugging Face page that you can use to play around with this tool. When we tried testing it, it actually was really bogged down and we weren't able to get images ourselves from the tool, but hopefully that changes in the next few days. In other Whitepaper news, the team at Meta came out with a demo that absolutely blew our minds. So long story short, users have the ability to take a single image and then the system will create an entire metaverse world that you can walk around in. There's some pretty cool examples over on their website. For example, we have this image here of a 3D fantasy world, and in just a few minutes, it's able to create a 3D world that you can look around in. It looks pretty good. We also have that classic Van Gogh painting, and in just a few minutes, you're able to look around the world, and yeah, kind of cool in that Van Gogh style. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the ability to play around with this tool just yet, but there is a publicly available tool that does allow you to type in a prompt and generate a 360 world that you can look around inside of virtual reality. It's called Skyblocks AI. It's actually been around for quite a while, but long story short, the tool allows you to type in a prompt and then look around. For example, here's a prompt of a hilltop village. You can see, you can just kind of look around and yeah, there we go. We got a hilltop village. Back in research news, the team at Sync Labs, which creates some of the better lip syncing tools on the market, has announced that they have a brand new version of Sync Labs coming soon that basically is giving you more fidelity and more realistic lip syncing than ever before. They have a demo with Nicolas Cage. Let's take a look.
To let them know that I am not an imposter who is taking money from someone in England. Que vois-je quand je me google? Souvent quelque chose de fort et je dois appeler quelqu'un pour clarifier que je ne suis pas un imposteur.
Okay, so as you can see, it does a pretty good job. There's lots of fidelity on the lips, and they even go into further explanation later on where they compare it to other lip syncing models on the market. And you can see that the new lip sync using Sync Labs is really nice. Now, the only thing that I came across that was a little concerning in this lip sync is the part where he's talking and his chin just like weirdly jumps down. Did you see his chin go down? It's mainly because in the original video, his face kind of moved forward like that. And so for this lip syncing and language translation to be really effective, it's very clear that there has to be an additional level of synthesis where it can change some of those strange face dynamics, or you're going to get a lot of like weird chins like that in the future. Enrollment is officially open for our AI courses at Curious Refuge. This session, we're offering all of our courses, including the brand new advanced AI filmmaking with Kevin Cardoza. If you've ever wanted to learn the exact AI workflows used by professionals inside of Hollywood, this is the course for you. We're also offering certifications, so once you're able to complete your course, you're able to put that on LinkedIn and your resume. Be sure to reach out if you have any questions at all. We'll see you in class. In Hollywood news, there was a big announcement this last week that came from the production team behind the House of David series. Long story short, they utilized AI for a VFX workflow and created over 73 shots utilizing artificial intelligence. The team basically said that they would not have had the budget to pull off that specific scene if they weren't able to utilize AI on the project. They said that they used a lot of the tools that we teach at Curious Refuge, including Midjourney, Magnific, Topaz, Runway, Clink, alongside some more traditional tools like Unreal Engine, Nuke, Photoshop, and After Effects. Now, this is really interesting and opens up a lot of conversations about copyright and where the pixels come from, but I imagine we'll see how that plays out in the next few months. And speaking of training data, the team at Krea has come out with a few features that are pretty interesting. The first is image training that allows you to train a series of images on a face, an object, or an artistic style. Let me show you how to use it. To use the tool, just go to the Krea website, go to train, and go ahead and select image. Now for our image training, I have a few different images here in this kind of modern impressionistic style. We'll go ahead and import those into the tool. And for our trigger word, we will say impressionist, and go ahead and click train image. So that's going to take a few minutes, but once you're ready to use your new style, just go ahead and click use with Flux. And you'll have a prompt box here. You see that we have the style in the bottom menu. Now go to the prompt box and we'll say an establishing shot of a purple house with white window panes, and go ahead and click generate. And you can see we have a few different results here. We have this one, which, yeah, looks pretty good. This one, not too bad. This one, pretty good. And we can take that same style and now generate other images. So for example, we have this image of the fountain. We have an establishing shot of this house. We have this shot of this woman looking in the mirror. And again, pretty good job at generating the reflection dynamics there. And then finally, we have this image of a woman riding a horse. And yeah, it did a great job. Now, they also came out with another feature that allows you to train a video model. So long story short, you have the ability to upload different video clips, and hypothetically, you should be able to generate other video clips that are in the style of the clips that you uploaded. They have a video tutorial over on X, but long story short, you go to the train page, click video, and then go ahead and upload your videos. For their example, they have all these videos of the wacky waving inflatable flailing arm tube man, and you have the ability to define, so wacky inflatable, and go ahead and click run. And then it creates the model, and after a few minutes, you're able to generate whatever video you want. And after a few minutes, we have this shot here of an inflatable tube man at a party. And I don't know if it did a good job, because you could type in that prompt in any other AI video generator like Veo and probably get a similar result. So I'm not entirely sure about the value proposition at this point, especially because the actual physics of the video are not that realistic, even in their example. But we'll let you know as we test this tool in the future. Up to this point, we still haven't received our training data back that we inputted into the software, so only time will tell. In Hollywood news, there was a big announcement from Bob Iger, who is the CEO of Disney. Now, obviously, Disney up to this point has been exploring AI, but had to be very delicate about the way in which they explore the tool. Well, that changed this last week, where he came out and said that AI may be, in fact, the most powerful technology that their company has ever seen. Now, the thing that makes this absolutely wild is the fact that this is Disney. They invented the multiplane camera, feature-length animated films, the list goes on, and yet they're saying that AI has the power to be the most powerful technology they have ever used. Now, of course, that comes with caveats here. There are three things that he said they're really looking at as they move into the AI revolution. The first is, of course, protecting intellectual property. The second is treating creators with respect. And the third is making sure that their customers feel valued. I think the fact that someone with this much power in the industry coming out to talk about artificial intelligence just shows that there is a large shift in the way the industry is perceiving artificial intelligence. And speaking of animation, the enrollment deadline for our AI animation competition, which is the first in history, ends today, March 28th. We've had hundreds of submissions, but there's still time for you to submit your film project. We've partnered with Promise Studios on this competition, and I'm also very excited to introduce Luma Labs as a sponsor. Luma has upped the first prize to $10,000. So if you want your shot at winning that prize along with your face printed on a potato, be sure to enter today. There have also been quite a few AI film meetups happening around the world. Again, you can always visit the AI film events page over on Curious Refuge if you want to learn more. Just a note, the Curious Refuge Shanghai meetup is happening tomorrow, Saturday, March 29th. Runway is hosting a Berlin meetup on April 4th. We're also sponsors of our second annual AI filmmaking mega party in Las Vegas on April 6th. We would love to see you there. And there is the Curious Refuge Palm Beach meetup on April 7th. But honestly, there are so many film events. I highly recommend checking out the page to see if one is happening in your area. And that brings us to our AI films of the week. The first film that I want to shout out is called A Hard Winter by Alex Patrascu. This film is basically a tone poem, but it has some of the more impressive AI shots that we've seen over the last few weeks. There's great consistency and realism in the curation, so I think they did a really good job. The second project that I want to shout out is called The Final Drop of Water by Francesca Fini. It's basically this really interesting sci-fi film where the characters wear goldfish bowls for their helmet. And there's a really impressive long shot at the beginning. I thought that they were using Wonder Dynamics, but I actually do think they were prompting in an AI video tool. And I think that the physics look really cool. The characters that they generated look awesome. And some of the dynamics, like the way in which the arms articulate, are just really impressive and unique. And the final film I want to shout out is called Warlock by Alex Russek. This film is basically a 7.5 minute long, wild and epic 1980s inspired fantasy film. You can tell they definitely watched some of those films growing up. It has crazy visuals and fun aesthetics. I recommend checking it out. Okay, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of AI Film News. As always, you can get AI Film News sent directly to your inbox by subscribing over on Curious Refuge. And of course, if you want to learn with us for our April session, enrollment is now open. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more tutorials like this on YouTube. We'll see you in the next one.